Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. So Willie and I have came over to Arbroath this morning because we wanted to try and see if we could get some shots of this kind of pier in the harbour area around Arbroath. The only thing is, when we've got here, the tide's really low. We did check the tide times, but because we've never been here before, we're not really familiar with the levels of the water. So we'll probably treat this as a bit of a recce today. And what we're going to do is have a wee wander around the harbour and let's see what images we can get. So join us and let's see where this journey takes us. So we've come down to the beach and we can see all these kind of breakwater pillars, and then it goes to that old pier, and then you've kind of got a wee lighthouse at the end of the harbour wall on the other side, and then we've got the RNLI Lifeboat station over there with the Slipway. But we're just going to do a wee recce because none of the two of us have been here before. So we're just going to have a wee wander and let's see if there's anything that catches our eye. Alright, so as we've been walking around, we've found a composition. There's quite a lot, because there's a lot of intimate details now that the sea's out, because there's shells that are stuck to the rocks, the limpets there are stuck to rock. That could make quite a nice macro shot. We've not got a macro lens with us, but at the same time we could do a close-up shot and then try and kind of crop it to give us that wee bit better composition. But the composition I've got here is, we've got behind the wall here, so behind this the break wall, I think it's called the West Water Break or Breakwater. I'll put the real name up in the description. But what I liked here was the curvature, and we've got the greens and the yellows on the stone, and it's sweeping round to the lighthouse over here on the right hand side. But we've also got a pool of water in front of us. So use a polarizer so we can cut through the glare for the pool of water. And then what I'll do is I'll do a number of different compositions where I'll zoom in closer. So we'll start with a wide shot, then we'll go to a medium focal point, and then we'll go to the further zoom that I can do with this 20-40-70. And when these images are finished, I'll share them with you now. There you go, we're just having a laugh because I've just put the magnetic ND grad filter on the camera, and if I walk over, look, it's taking Willie absolutely ages. He's got to screw on his filter, then he's got his adapter to go on, then he's got to slide his filters on. So it just goes to show that the magnetic circular filters for speed are brilliant. When we first arrived, we were a wee bit concerned that because the tide was out we might have missed a lot of opportunities, but it's the actual opposite. There's Willie making the best, because I don't know what he's taking photos of, because we've got the big posts there, we've got the wall here, and then in front of me here, what we've got is all these rock pools. And then if we can get it enough, we can get the rocks just below the horizon. And that horizon line is absolutely stunning because the contrast of the greys, the lightness of the water, and I've got my nice foreground with the seaweeds. And if I turn to the right, I've got another channel straight in front of me as well. So there's quite a lot of opportunities here. So what I'll do is I'll take 2 or 3 different shots because the textures in the rocks are really nice. So what I'll do is when I'm finished, I'll share these images with you now. Right, the wind's picking up quite a bit, as you can see. It's blown the hoods and everything everywhere. I've got a really nice composition here. I've got this rock in the foreground, and then I've got this channely water that weaves its way through all the seaweed in the rocks. So this image, I'm going to have to do a photo stack. So I'm going to take a first image in this area, I'll take my second image in this area, and I'll take my third area in the distance. And then what I'll do is I'll use that in Photoshop to do a kind of photo merge, align the three images, and then I'll merge them once I've aligned them. And then we should have a sharp image from front to back. If this image works out, I'll share that with you now. Alright, so I've come onto the Slipway because there's some really nice rock pools here with some really nice wee kind of details in the rocks with all these kind of crevices as well. But what I'm trying to do is just get shots of the pier, and I'm going to take 2 or 3 images from this area where I'm right close to the end of the pier or Slipway. And yeah, I'm doing them in portrait orientation because I just want to get that kind of composition where I've got the pier in the distance and it's a tight crop, but I want a low horizon. It's absolutely stunning here. I'll get these shots, and when I've finished, I'll share these images with you now. Right, so I'm experimenting here because I've got a really nice composition shooting down the pier here. I'm going to try a long exposure shot. So I'm going to set my long exposure about 3.5 minutes first. I've got an ND 1000, I've got an ND Grad, I've got my polarizer, so I've stacked the 3 filters onto the camera. When this image finishes, I'll share it with you now. Alright, so we're having to watch all the equipment because the wind is getting really strong. But I've got a nice composition here. So I've got this pool of water and I've got a rock down on the left hand side, and I'm using that as a kind of leading line up to the lighthouse. And I've also got the wall that's coming in sweeping for the left hand side, and then I've got the rocks that are giving me that balance on the right hand side. So the light is changing on us quite a lot. So we're getting sun, we're getting shade, we're getting shadows, and we experience that through our long exposure shots. rocks there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to experiment here. I'll probably do a focus stack because I want to try and get that rock in the foreground, and I want that to be really detailed. So I'll probably take 3 images as part of my focus stack, and when I've finished, I'll share these images with you. For arriving here and probably coming to a location that you've never been to before, and you've watched videos of the location, it's funny because some objects and structures look a lot bigger on video. When you actually get here, they're not as big. So this breakwater wall, for example, so you've got all the breakwater pillars, and then you've got the wall. And some of the videos I saw, they look massive, but they're actually quite small. And the fact that Willie and I are able to stand here, treacherous right enough because of the seaweed, it's really slippy. But what I've got is, I'm trying to get this composition where we're trying to get really low. I'm using the camera to cut through the grooves, and then I'm using the grooves as a frame for the lighthouse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 or 3 separate focus stack images because I want to get the detail of the limpets. I want to get the detail of some of the holes in the rock. And as you can probably see, the sun is changing. The light is changing every 5 minutes. The sun is coming and going behind the clouds. Anyway, I'll adjust my exposures, I'll take the shot, and I'll share this image with you now. Come to the end here, and I'm just doing a long exposure because I've got quite a nice composition with the rocks and the lighthouse on the left. But we're going to try and make our way to the very end. I'll film Wally first just to make sure he gets there, and because what we spotted the peak of that tower just peeking through the top of the wall. So we thought if we go down there might be a chance that we'll get a composition and we'll get more view of the tower. So when this long exposure works out, I'll share it with you now. I'm having to hold this because it's like a sail on a boat, and it doesn't help when you're doing a long exposure shot because it rattles your tripod. So Willie and I are at the end of this wee pier here. As you can see there, we're not quite sure. Willie thinks that could be a sewage trap. But we're at the end of the water anyway. It's a beautiful view, and we've got the lighthouse over there to our far right. The image I'm trying to capture is that tower over there, but we're trying as much as we can not to get blown off. So I'm doing a long exposure, so when these are finished, I'll share them with you now. Alright, so I'm going to head along back. Willie's just finishing off one of his long exposure shots. It's just the weather conditions. It's extremely windy, but the light is just changing so fast on us. It's good fun. It is good fun, isn't it? You have to focus on your settings and various things. So I'm just going to walk along the edge here and see if we get further into the harbour, and let's see if there's any compositions over the other side of this wall. I don't know if this wee camera will be able to pick it up, but as you can see, the lifeboat is getting trailered up into the lifeboat station there, and then the smaller lifeboat is in the bay. I'm going to move a wee bit closer and see if we can capture something over here. Yoga class going on the beach. It's beautiful down here. The only thing is where I'm standing and all this mud absolutely stinks. It is not pleasant. So I'm just following the position I'm looking for. Is I thought the breakwater pillars and the the depth poles look quite a nice composition. So when I'm finished filming here, I'll take those images and I'll share them with you now. Alright, so we're up at above the harbour now. We're just going to walk round the harbour wall. We're trying to get to the other side of the harbour. There's a wet harbour in there as well, so no doubt we'll pass it and we'll catch up when we find the next composition. Well, this is what they call the wet harbour. This is the old harbour that was set up in the 1300s and still exists today. Tell you what, we're pretty smitten by this location. It's an absolute cracker. And the sun has now come out, so we've still got our coats on, but I think we're going to have to get rid of them because it's getting warm. But yeah, some beautiful boats. We're just walking along beside these lobster pots at the moment. As you can see, there's a fair few. So Arbroath is also famous for a few things, and one of them is right in front of us, Arbroath Smokies, and that's run by the Spinks family. So as you can see, you can get haddock, trout, mackerel, herring and salmon, all smoked. Arbroath's also famous because it's got the Arbroath Abbey, and that was established in the 1100s by the monks that came up from Melrose. But it's also famous for the Declaration of Arbroath, which was the first in the 1300s, was the first declaration of independence for Scotland. Right, we're on the other side of the pier now, the harbour, but pretty actually. What we're trying to do is go over to that lighthouse and see what views we can get over there. Alright, so we're just walking over this bridge, which is above the old Slipway. We've got some boats under repair there. And then that's, the wind's now come back, quite ferocious. So, our plan is to walk to the very end of the harbour here. Well, there's a very narrow staircase that gets us up to the seawall. Willie's up there already, so we're going to go up, have a wee nosy. Willie and I are prisoners of the wind up here. Willie's doing his long exposure, but I've just taken a shot of the wall that's leading down to the lighthouse, and then I took a shot with that composition, so we've got a harbour on the right, and then a shot with the sea on the left hand side. So what I'm going to do now is just take some spot shots around the harbour. And then if I look back the way from this viewpoint, we've got the Arbroath Cliffs over there in the distance. Willie and I visited there, it was either last year or the year before, when we went to visit the Elephant Rock, and we ended up on the Arbroath Cliffs, which you could spend a whole day there, because we only done about half an hour. It would be amazing, so we'll need to go back there. But I'm just looking over there, there's a wee set of wall. The only thing with this area is the seaweed is really, really slippy, so it's quite treacherous in places. So anyway, I'm going to take these shots and I'll share these images with you now. Make our way further down the harbour wall. Willie's getting the obligatory lobster pot shot. I'm actually going to take some shots of these boats, so I'll share them with you. What I like is we've got the bright boats and then you've got the contrast with the dark shed in the background, so I'll share that image. I get a nice wee composition here, so I've got a balance of the white boat on the left, the red boat on the right, and the old wet pier gates are shut, but we've got a trickly water coming through there. So I'll take a couple of shots. I'm going to isolate the white boat because I think that'd be quite a nice shot. And then what I'll do is I'll get the red boat in a composition where the wet pier's gates are in front of it. And I'll share these three images with you now. Right, so I'm getting closer and closer. I'm going to go up the top there, see if I can get a shot. There's a woman sitting there, so I'm not going to annoy her by talking. Alright, so I have quite a cool composition here, although I can understand why you need water. So what we've got is we've got the end of the breakwater wall, swings all the way around, then we've got the beach, and then you've got all the blocks over there on the far right. So I can understand now why we need the water. However, I'm going to try a long shutter speed shot, and when I'm finished I'll share that image with you now. The idea of the wind, there's Wally getting set up, but the two of us at the moment are having to hold our tripods because the wind is absolutely ferocious. It's beautiful on the seas. We've got a long shutter speed on because we're just trying to see what effects we can get with the wider expanse of the seawater and have the end of the wall here on the right hand side. Then if I move round, you can see they're fishing. It's just crazy with the wind. But we've got, as the wall comes round, I'm trying to work it so that I've got a composition going that direction. I'm just holding on to my camera because it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts with wind. So we're having to take two shots because we're getting a long exposure, one for the water, and then we're taking a fast exposure for the detail of the breakwater wall. And then if we need to, we can merge them together because I don't know how sharp the long exposure is going to be with all this crazy wind. Right, I'm going to secure these cameras because this wee one's been blown over twice already, and any of the image I've captured up here, I'll share them with you now. Right, so I tried to come in a wee bit sheltered area. So what I've done is I've focused in on some of these lobster pots, and I've been trying to get a shot of the lobster pots, and then I've been using these lobster pots as a composition as well. So if those compositions work out, I'll share them with you now. I think we're going to end the video here. We're going to be blown off this flipping harbour.
It's windy.
Bit windy.
Easy.
Oh, it's wild. To be fair, it's tested us, to be fair, probably around fast shutter speeds, slow shutter speeds. And even with the slow shutter speeds that we were doing, even up to 3 minutes, we were having to hold on to the camera and the tripods. And then the other thing, because we can't really see because of the glare of the sun, we're trying to compensate so that we take a fast shutter speed of the solid object so that if we get a kind of shaky image from the long exposure. At least we can use the soft sea and the long exposure and merge them. Well, that's what we think. We don't know yet until we go home and try them out. But thanks very much to Willie for chumming me.
Right, no problem, sure.
We've never, haven't been here before, have we?
No.
So the next time we come back will be high tide, because we now understand why we need high tide for that pier. So, but anyway, it's all part of learning. We can treat this as a recce, and it's been good fun. The weather's been kind. Even though it's been windy, it's been kind. So I'm going to end the video. So here's hoping you like it. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because you know it's free. And if you press the bell notification, that will let you know the next time I post a video. So thanks again, Willie.
Sure.
And here's to the next video.